Entering the Mayo Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, Travelers Championship, DraftKings picks, updated card, weather, ownership projections, and so here's the deal. The commissioner is flying to Connecticut as we speak to do a press conference at 2 p.m. because, as we've seen over the past 2 days, Cameron Champ had to withdraw because he tested positive for COVID-19. Graham McDowell's caddy and Brooks Koepka's caddy also tested positive. Both of those players have withdrawn from the field. So there's a lot of rumors going around that the event could be canceled. That could certainly be so. I have no idea what they're going to say at this press conference. And, we had this show scheduled live for 12:30 p.m. I'm going to be done by the time it happens. So I'm going to operate like everything is going on as smoothly as planned as we were thinking about like 20 minutes ago. So here's the entire thing. Don't play Brooks, don't play Graham, don't play Cameron Champ. Obviously, they're not playing. That's already been reflected up on fantasynational.com right now if you want to construct your lineups and do your research. If you use fantasynational.com/Mayo, then you can get yourself 20% off of that. So hopefully, fingers crossed over here that golf is going to be okay. New guidelines, new protocols put into place. However, the big thing is going to be you're going to want to stay on top of this all the way up through the night and maybe even wake up before lock tomorrow morning because it does seem like some players might just say, fuck this, we're not going to play. I don't want to be around any of this stuff. I have $50 million in the bank. Not worth it to me. That's also on the table. So you might see a flurry of other players end up withdrawing either tonight or very early tomorrow morning. Hopefully they don't do it tomorrow morning. Hopefully they do it later today, later on tonight, if they're going to do it, if golf is still going to resume. So like I said, we're going to tackle this as if we are going to have golf. And golf is going to start on time, and that there's going to be a DraftKings Millionaire Maker and bets all the way to go around, all right? In the comment section, the live chat, I'm going to get to that after we end up going through the card, the weather update, all of that fun. I don't know what's happening, so don't ask me, and don't speculate either. That's for questions about the tournament. If you do anything else, you will be banned for life. Yes, Paul?
If they ask if the tournament is happening, can we ban them?
Yeah. If you ask me if the tournament is happening, you're going to get banned for life. If you're just in there speculating and going back and forth, you can just fuck off. Take a hike. You get banned for life. Go do that on your own private thread. We're here to answer the people's questions. That's why we keep the show free. The other two ways you can help keep the show free, as we love to do, smash the like button to the video. That always goes a long way. And this will be up on demand after the fact, maybe irrelevantly, on the Pat Mayo Experience audio podcast feed. So if you just go onto there, especially like Apple Podcasts, scroll to the bottom, 5-star rating. That would be amazing. If you want to give a review, even better. That is the currency of this show. So please, folks, let's get into that. Let's get to the card, the betting card for the week. Obviously, all these guys, a lot of these odds have now changed a little bit because with Brooks withdrawing, it bumped everyone else up. Like Justin Thomas was 12-1. He's 10-1 or 9-1 in some places. I saw him 9-1 on DraftKings Sportsbook. So it really depends on where you look, but these are the odds that I got. So these are the odds that I'm listing off to win the Travelers Championship. Dustin Johnson, 30-1. Bubba Watson, 33-1. Colin Morikawa, 40-1. Sergio, 50-1. And I ended up playing Mark Leishman. I was going to go with Hovland, but he ended up getting bet down to like 45-1 before I jumped on it. Thought about Scheffler. Still like Scheffler, but couldn't make room for him. Leishman just kept dropping and dropping. Former winner of this event. Outside of like the first hole at Colonial, he actually drove the ball like all right and gained a ton on his irons. I like him for this setup. He's already won this year, 60-1 with a top 5 each way. If you don't know what an each way is, that means half the bet goes towards that 60-1. The other half of the bet goes towards the top 5 at 1/4 of the odds of the 60-1. So that's the way that we're going. It'd be 15-1 for a top 5, put it that way. Bombs this week, I got Kokrak at 100, Max Homa at 140-1, both the top 5 each way. And I'm going YOLO on my guy Tigala, 350-1 with the top 5 each way. I saw him as deep as 600 in some spots, not books that I can play on, but I haven't. The best odd I could find was 350 if I wanted to play the each way on that, so I did. And of course, list and see, woo! Yeah, they're always on the card. 200-1, 250-1. Quick $5 bet on those guys with the each way. Top 20 bets, Tigala 11-1 and Doc Redman 6-1. First round leaders. When we talk about the weather, it does look like it's going to be pretty mild in the morning when the first wave goes out, I tried to lean heavier towards the early wave in terms of my first round leaders. And I ended up playing 11 this week because I took some really deep shots. So when I try to construct this, I like to keep it all around. I like to basically try to keep it between 8 and 10 or 6 and 10 normally. That's usually between 100 to 1 and 150 to 1. This week, I have a whole bunch of 150s, 250, so I can fit on 250s for the price of 125. That's why there's 11 this week. And if guys are going to be like withdrawing from the field, then maybe these guys have a better chance of being first round leaders. So I said I was going to do it. Johnny Vegas, 110 to 1. Max Homa, 100 to 1. Matthew Smith, the inventor of basketball, 110 to 1. Doc Redmond, 125. Tigala, Griot, Scott Stallings, and Cam Davis, 150 to 1. Sung Kang, 175 to 1. Henrik Norlander and KH Lee, 250 to 1. These are all played with the top 5 each week. So one of these guys comes inside the top 5. We're golden. One of these 250 guys comes inside the top 5. It's a pretty nice payday. I'm not going to lie to you. It's 62 to 1? I'm bad at math. Don't worry about me. One and dones for the week. I am going with Dustin Johnson. Jeff is going with Colin Morikawa. And Cust is taking Joaquin Niemann for his one and done. Riding high, Cust, doing really well on the one and done so far this year, especially the last 3 events. So maybe he's the guy that you want to ride with. Weather report right now in the morning, so around like 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., it looks like it's going to be a max of like 7-mile-per-hour winds. That's nothing. Now, it's going to rain a little bit outside of Hartford today. It might soften up the course a little bit, and it does seem like a lot of these courses, because they're being played at weird times, are actually going out and watering the greens. So earlier in the morning, the greens are a bit more receptive. You can attack the pins. Presumably, that will lead to more birdies. When we think about it as well, in the afternoon from like 1 to 8 p.m., they're going to get up around like 15, 16, 17 mile per hour winds at the top gust. So it's not a huge difference. It's double, but that's not like the most gusty wind you're ever going to find. But there does seem to be a slight advantage AM-wise, at least on Thursday. And it's almost the exact reverse on Friday. It's not going to get quite as windy on Friday afternoon, but it's like a 2 mile per hour difference. So it doesn't seem like there's a significant difference between the AM, PM, PM, AM waves over the first 2 days. Just day one, if you're playing Showdown or you're betting on first round leaders, then you probably do want to target the morning on Thursday. It's a pretty good rule of thumb anyway, just because of the conditions that always end up getting set up. All right, that's me rolling through everything. I'm going to try to update the cheat sheet. I'm going to try to update whatever it is, and we're going to go on through. Scott Stewart asks, who are the best pivots from Brooks? So I guess this is really the big one right now. I'm going to try to keep up to date on all of the information as we go through this in case the tournament gets shut down, in case someone else WDs. I don't see anything as I speak right now. So in terms of Brooks, DraftKings wise, he was going to be pretty popular this week. So was Patrick Cantlay, who was $200 cheaper than him, and so was John Rahm, who was $200 more expensive than him. Now, the one good thing about it was they were all kind of eating each other's tails, that not one of them would get like 25%. They were all going to be like 13, 14, 15% as it kind of leveled out across. Now, without Brooks in the field, there's a few ways you can think about this. He was $10,000. So a lot of people do have $200 left over, easily go up to John Rahm. So it's going to spike his ownership percentage. Or if you don't have the $200, just going down to $9,800 to Patrick Cantlay, also pretty easy, or even down to Xander if you wanted to as well. A lot of people don't like to leave a whole bunch of hundreds of dollars on the table, so going up or going down $200 isn't that big of a move. Now, the bigger one here, when we think about ownership and just looking at these guys, Rahm is probably going to vault into being third to first highest owned of the week now. I originally had it projected that Bryson and Justin Thomas would both crack 20%, with Rory and Webb being sort of the outliers in this range, with Rory being like 10 to 12%, Webb being 7 to 10%. I actually think that if you had John Rahm, which I had a lot of, I played him in 40% of my lineups, I actually divvied that up. So I took half of my John Rahm lineups and converted them over into Webb Simpson lineups. It does seem like with Brooks withdrawing that no one is still going to go to Webb. So if you can be overweight on the field of Webb. Listen, I don't love Webb this week, but of all of these guys, he's going to be like at least half the ownership at this point, and he crushes these short par fours. He's coming off a win. We just saw Berger come off a win and play well. Why can't Webb do the same thing on another short course? So I'm going to take the gamble and divvy up my John Rahm shares into Webb Simpson. And hopefully it works out for the best. That's more of a game theory move for me, but he does seem to be the one who's going to be unaffected by this the most in terms of the Brooks withdrawal. Now, if there's more withdrawals along the way, then you got to figure it out. I'm using the ownership projections from fantasynational.com. They update in real time. So I check back later on Wednesday evening in order to make sure that everything is all good. All right, I'm going to try to find some. So that was the first question. Let's see. UFC coming tomorrow, by the way. UFC picks with Paul and Cody, bets and DraftKings picks, so you want to tune into that. Friday, I have fantasy football on the go. Jake and Meanie. Meanie's back in studio. Jake's on the line breaking down some more wide receivers. So plenty of content all the time. Even if golf goes away, I got you covered over here. You keep coming back to the Pat Mayo experience. Oh, also, I'm giving away free Millionaire Maker tickets, so smash the like button. That puts you in good standing with Pat Mayo, as it does leaving those reviews. But also, if you just go to my Twitter page at the PME, you will find a tweet there that you have to retweet, then reply to get into the draw. The draw closes at 2 p.m. Eastern time, so I recommend you go do that. And if golf gets canceled and you win a ticket, you can just use it the next time around. I'm pretty sure that's how that works. Don't quote me on that one, but I think that's how it works. Let's see. Neiman Hovland Woodland pick 2. Did I end up using Gary Woodland? I think he was. I really tried to tighten up my core this week. I only have 16 people in my core for 20 lineups. I had 23 last week. I'm just playing under the impression if I'm gonna hit, I want to hit big. That's what I want to do. So when it comes down to it, did I use Woodland? No, I did not use Woodland. Did I take Neiman out as well? I used Hovland. So Hovland and Neiman would be my 2. That is going to go to that. Let's see. Yeah, I don't care about your fucking COVID comments. Stallings or Stanley? I'm going to go with local man, Scott Stallings this week. Coming off a pretty decent week. Always plays better on POA and can be a very good driver of the ball from time to time. He's incredibly risky, but so are both of these guys. I think if you look like baseline, Stanley would be the play. Tends to play better on the longer par 4s than the shorter par 4s. And there's a slew of short par 4s this week, 9 of them underneath 450 yards. So I would go with Stallings in that one. I think Kisner is good this week. Destroyed some good lineups for me, but still like him. I'm off Kisner this week. Didn't really do it for me whatsoever. Him and Snedeker, I think, are really interesting because they're both really good players, but they haven't been playing great. So if you want to take a shot on one of those 2 guys, I think that they're going to come in with really low ownership. Just didn't end up making my player pool. Give me your favorite DK golfer from 7,000 to 7,500. Let's see. How many guys am I using? Jason Kokrak is going to be my guy. I'm doing the snorting the Kokrak this week. We're getting back on the train. This is where I like him. I talked about Valspar and Genesis being 2 corollary tournaments for this event. He's played well at both of those. I think that the ball striking is there. He's a bad putter. He's going to putt poorly. But, Keegan Bradley gained almost 10 strokes on the greens here last year. It just needs to pop for Kokrak once, and the ball striking has been so strong that I think this is a very, very good course for him. So Jason Kokrak is the guy for me. Rory ownership. Are we talking about the good Rory or the bad Rory? I don't even know if the good Rory is playing this week. No, he's not. So good Rory is taking the week off. Sabs is probably in Detroit already, getting ready if golf still continues. Rory McIlroy, like I said, somewhere around between 10 and 12%. Now, that's pending on people having Brooks lineups and then reconstructing them and trying to figure out everything else. Maybe they'll try to just start with Rory and work their way down. I doubt that happens with too many people, but that's the way we're going. Spieth and Finau ownership projection. I can give you Spieth. Let's see here. Spieth is a tricky one in terms of Fantasy National. So I'm going to guess it comes in a lot higher than this. We have him at 4% right now at $8,400. Finau around 15%. But with Spieth is that the people who use statistical modeling and databases like Fantasy National in order to do their projections or generate their lineups are just going to be out on Spieth because the stats are so horrible. But because this is like a millionaire maker, there's a lot of entries, a lot of the public is playing. They like Jordan Spieth, so I presume it's going to be higher than that. I don't think it's going to be like gaudy like it was 2 weeks ago, but I could see it being close to actually 10%. He's one of the weird outlier guys that can always go with. Did Raza convince you enough yesterday to take another shot with Lowry? I didn't. I actually had my player pool at around 22 players, and I just started cutting guys out of it, and Lowry was one of the very last cuts. I didn't want to have that many people from the very bottom. It's funny. Patrick Reed was my last cut from my betting sheet. I wanted to go with him or go with Leishman. I took the 60-1 over 40-1. Did play him a bunch on DraftKings, but if you want to bet Reed to win, he's probably going to win now because I didn't bet him. And Lowry's probably going to have a great DraftKings week because he was like my final cut from down in that range. Russell Henley, ? He's playing as I know right now. There we go. At Pat Mayo, damn, Glash and Kaufman is better with his fans than you are. I'm sure. They're 8 fans. Sorry, Koff. Sorry, Glash. You shave your eyebrows again, pal. People are here for the information. You know what? You're fucking banned for life. I don't like you. You can get off. You're not a fan. You can fuck off. How about that?
Yes.
Connors ownership projection. Corey Connors, Ken Jen, probably going to come in around like 13 to 16%. He's been playing great. Sung Jae or Justin Rose? I'm not using either of them. I probably would prefer Rose with the way that he's playing right now. And I thought we'd get a dip in Sung Jae, but it seems like almost like Webb last week where he missed the cut, everyone went back to him. Everyone's going back to Sung Jae. I think they're both fine plays. And if you want the savings, I guess, you know what? Take Sung Jae. Sung Jae's great. Thoughts on T. Gala? I'm just taking a flyer on him in the betting market. Do you think Cameron Davis is a good pivot from Doc Redman? Playing very well pre-hiatus. Guy can't putt. That's a problem. Tends to be a very good ball striker. Always drives the ball well. The iron's a bit spotty. I think if you wanted to pivot off of Redman, I think it's a pretty sharp move. When we talk about the guys in the $6,000 area, there's one that's, let's see, how many guys are projected over 5%? Neesmith, Redman, Munoz, Ortiz. And Harry Higgs, surprisingly enough, are the 5 guys that are over that. If you wanted to pick, and with Redmond being the only one over 10%, we have him at 12 right now. He probably comes in a little bit higher, to be perfectly honest with you. So someone like Doc Redmond, I actually like him this week. I'm going to use him. I'll eat some of that chalk because it's not going to be overwhelming, but I understand the theory of not wanting to play him with equivalently priced players who probably inherit very much of the same skill. So I think that Davis is one of the guys I'm playing as a first-round leader. So there we go. Tigala or Lonto, I'm not using either of them in my DK lineups. I think if you wanted to go to the bottom, Norlander is probably your best shot. That'd be my move on it. Do you take more shots on long shots in case it is shortened? I think that's a viable strategy, but I think either it's going to be canceled or it's not. That would probably be the move here. If DJ tees off, would you be worried about him WDing it all? No. If they're going to play, they're going to play. If they're not going to play, they're not going to, unless they test positive after like one round. But if you were going to be so worried that you'd withdraw after the first round, I don't see why you would tee it up to begin with. Maybe I'm wrong, but that just seems to be how I'm doing. Oh, Pat, do you think the tournament gets canceled? Oh, you must be new because anyone who asked that says you're banned for life. Them's the rules. So don't ask it. Setting that out there right now. Back on the ban train, by the way. Koepka about to be the first-round leader. Not anymore. Thanks. Do you prefer good drives or fairways gained to emphasize on driving accuracy on Fantasy National Golf Club, and why? Well, they don't do the same things. Good drives are drives that end up as a green in regulation, and fairways gained is like driving accuracy, but it's against the field. So if you wanted accuracy, you want fairways gained. Higher ownership this week, Neiman or Hovland? They're both going to be super high. I can tell you that much. Let's see. Where do I got them? I would initially, I would lean Neiman just by the optics of it. Yeah, Hovland, actually significantly more. I'm at 21% to Neiman 16%. Here we are. We got a big jump here. Big jump in the chat. Now I got to scroll back down. Let's see how we're doing. Any interest in Corey Connors? Yes. Pat, is there any value in rostering lefty? No, I don't think so. All right, sorry. Someone makes a good point. Brooks is not tested positive. Brooks' caddy is tested positive, like I mentioned off the top of the show. Him and McDowell's caddy have tested positive. They both withdrawn. Justin Thomas seems high. Webb pivot? If you want to, you can do whatever the fuck you want. They're your picks. Press conference at 2. Thank you. We know we're doing a golf show. Trust me on this one. We know what's going on, all right? So thanks for not tuning in to the beginning. People talking about whether it's going to be played or not. That's an auto ban. Please never come back or watch my show again. Thank you. These are for questions only. Brian Harmon ownership, 20%. I feel like he's worth eating the chalk on. I'm going to pass on Brian Harmon this week. You want to eat that chalk? I'm going to eat it in other spots. Brian Harmon could be the guy for you. That's fine. Any love for Brennan Steele at 225 with his course history? Not a ton, no, but he pops up like once every 20 events, so maybe this is one. Pat, no one's talking about Chase Koepka. What are your thoughts? I keep not talking about him. How about that? How crazy am I for playing Grayson? Well, not super crazy. This should be a good course for his ball striking. However, he last played on the Korn Ferry Tour 2 weeks ago, and he played so poorly he walked off the course. So I'm probably not going to use Grayson. He's usually my guy. Strakalov, not for me. Not for me this week. Any interest in Alonto? I believe you said Houston was a correlation, and he won there. I did not say Houston was a correlation, so he did win there. That is true. I think he won there. Yeah, he did win there. But nah, Ian Poulter in play this week? No, I don't like very poor drivers of the ball. So Fitz and Poulter, if their irons get hot and the putter gets hot, they can definitely contend, but I don't want guys that consistently lose strokes off the tee this week. That's just not where I'm going. Ownership preference on Kokrak or Billy Ho? I'm just going to go with Jason Kokrak. Streelman based on course history or Lowry being based on the better player? I'd probably go between those two. I'd go with Lowry just because he's a significantly better player. When Streelman won here, he birdied like the last 7 holes. He just got super hot and ended up winning the tournament. That was ages ago. I mean, Lowry's been bad the last 2 weeks, but he did just win a major last year. He's a top 25 player in the world. Kevin Streelman is not. Rory and Poston or JT and Harmon? Ugh, I'm not using any of those 4 guys, so Rory and Poston is. Maybe Mickelson wakes up. That's not a fucking question. For DFS bottom of the lineup, who would you pick out of Naismith, Redmond, or Vegas? I'm actually using all 3 of those guys. I'm going to go with Vegas. I like Vegas this week. Would you move DJ shares to Webb? I mean, the guy is $1,000, $1,100 more. I don't see how you can really do that unless your lineups are just really crazy to begin with. DJ played with Brooks on Sunday. Is DJ risky play? It's barely a sentence too, so I'm not going to answer that question. That's a bad question. How about that? Just give your head a shake. Reed and Im this week. I'm going with Reed and not Im. Rostering Joel Damon? No, I'm not going to do that. Does Doc Redmond putt better or worse on any particular surface, or does he suck on all of them? I believe he sucks on all of them, but the ball striking has been absolutely fantastic. Let's see. He's worse on POA than anywhere else, so perfect for this week, but I don't know what his long sample is on POA. Let's see. Two rounds at the Pro-Am sunk him. 3 rounds at the Farmers was really bad. And let's see, Safeway lost strokes there. But he tends to lose strokes every week. Bermuda usually is his best surface. He did not putt particularly well at Heritage last week, but that could be a big drawback if the putter really goes cold because this is not his preferred surface. Loses almost a stroke around on POA greens, so that could be just a big red flag. Maybe I should move some shares off of my guy Doc Redmond and get them onto Vegas or whoever else. HV3 or Billy Ho, double pass for me, but if it was between the two, HV3. As someone looking for leverage and a masochist, Day or Lowry? The Irishman looked better in round 2. Yes, I would go with Lowry over Day. Any love for Fitz last week? Played well last week? No. Seemed to like the 8K range more than most. You still don't see anything wrong with 4 to 5 guys from that range this week. Thoughts? I like it. I like a lot of those guys in that range. You could easily construct a roster fairly strongly too, depending on where you wanted to go after. If you want to use like Bubba, Reed, Im, Sergio, Woodland, Finau, Leishman, like 4 of those 6 guys, I think you'd be looking pretty good, to tell you the truth. Favorite 3 plays below $6,800. I don't really have any favorite plays below $6,800, but I'm using Norlander at the min to make some superstar, super scrubs lineup work. He's 6,000. Redmond in Vegas, I guess. Keegan or Stallings? Stallings for me. Nah or nah? I could see using Kevin Na. I'm not personally doing it, but I think he makes a lot of sense here, and no one's going to own him. The back does kind of worry me a little bit, though, but if he's back in the field, presumably he's better now. Any thoughts on fading all of the big names in the Millie Maker and just leaving a ton of salary in hopes all the big names withdraw? I mean, what are you going to do? Play like 6K guys? Like, what are you talking about here? I can see fading all the top names, but what do you consider a top name? Is Patrick Reed a top name? Is Justin Rose a top name? Because, I mean, you could just construct a lineup like the guy I just mentioned of all guys in the 8K range, and you'd probably be doing fine. I think trying to guess who's going to withdraw and who's not is kind of a fool's errand because you're not going to know, and then you just waste your money on a lot of this stuff by not constructing good teams. Woodland and Finau or Morikawa and Day or Kokrak. I'd go Morikawa and Kokrak. Bryce Garnett, low-key popping in my fantasy national model. Almost worries me how good he looks. Didn't really do a deep dive on Bryce Garnett. He's always a coastal track player. By and large, I know he played well last week. I'm curious to know when the last time Bryce Garnett played really well 2 weeks in a row. So let's see. Coastal Heritage Bermuda 17th. Charles Schwab, not Coastal. Bent missed the cut. Coastal Bermuda Honda T11. Coastal but POA AT&T Pro-Am missed the cut. Sony Coastal missed the cut. I could see it because it's a shorter course. Always prefer him on Bermuda over anything. Prefer him on the coast. So it's a pass for me this week on Bryce Garnett. Vegas or Taylor? I'll go with Vegas. Think Neesmith can play well again this week? I do think he can play well again this week. From Western Canada here, shout out Greg Dubb. Would you rather play Phil Mickelson at all? He's playing with Rory and Bryson. I would not want to play him. Thanks for always doing this, Pat. Thank you for tuning in, Andrew. Do you like Neiman more than Scheffler or Harmon this week? I like him more than Harmon. I don't like him more than Scheffler. Favorite pivot off answer? Anyone else around him. Billy Ho this week? Pass. Thoughts on HV3 course fit? I think he's good. I think he's fine. I'm just not using him. Finau or Leishman? Let's go with Leishman. Matt Jones going to win, so bet him everything. I can give you a gift. That is not... Paul, what do you think? Banned for life for a stupid fucking comment that I don't care about? I don't really care who you're taking.
Sorry, repeat the
I'm
question.
not tuning into your chat to hear who you're taking, so I don't care.
What was the question?
Hey, you're just telling me who he's betting this week. No question.
Who is he betting? Was there?
Matt Jones.
That's fucking. That's crazy. I don't know if he.
I'll throw
deserves
that out as a
ban,
warning.
But like you're getting close.
Cantlay or Xander? I'd probably end up going with Cantlay of those guys. I'd probably just take DJ, to tell you the truth. My Brooks stake just got refunded. All in on DJ or Xander Cust? I'll go with DJ. That's who I'm betting this week. Patch, I go Rory Poston or JT Harmon. I believe that's a duplicate question. I'm not sure, but everyone knows the rules of the chat of duplicate questions. You ask the same question twice, you're banned for life. I'll give you a pass on this one, pal. But Rory Poston. Jason Day resurgence? Probably not. Higgs or Neesmith? I'll go with Neesmith. And Higgs looks like he'll be higher owned. Although they'll probably be pretty close. How does Finau's skill set fit this course? I think it fits pretty well. Now they're saying that only one caddy tested negative. Great. In your opinion, who is the good versus the bad? Yes, Paul.
I have a take.
All right, give me a take.
If one of these guys, or if Brooks caddy, if it comes back and he has a negative test, Brooks wins. It's like Heinisch in the UFC when his coach had COVID, and then it was a false positive and it turned into a negative. He won in like 30 seconds.
So you're saying if Brooks...
Post negative COVID test swag.
I don't think it works like that, though. I believe he has already withdrawn and been replaced in the field. I think that's how it is.
Well, we'll see.
So I don't think he can get back in.
What if the cabbie didn't actually have COVID and it was a false positive?
I don't know. I believe once you withdraw, you're withdrawn.
Fair.
So I don't know how this is going to go. Although it does say Koepka's caddy now doesn't have it. Maybe Brooks just didn't
Brooks win confirmed.
Yeah. If Brooks somehow gets his ass back in the field, like everything I said off the top about John Rahm and pivoting those shares onto Webb Simpson, people are very bad to react to a lot of this stuff. I don't even know if he'll get back in the betting market if he does get back in. But let's say he does get back in, he's still in the DraftKings system. They probably won't even update in time. It'll still show WD next to his name. If somehow he's back in, just go all in on Brooks because he'll be like 3% owned or something like that. And like sharp people will move back on, but the general public has already made their lineups after hearing this news. They're not going to go back at like 11 p.m. tonight and fix them again. So yeah, if somehow he gets back in, that's a thing. Harmon or Connors? I'll go with Connors. You said your player pool is around 22. Is that what you would recommend for 20 lineups? No, I said my original was around 22. That's what I played last week. What did I say it was this week? I whittled it down to 16 players this week. So fewer the better. Always a good rule of thumb. Got here late. Anyone got Pat's betting sheet? I will tweet it out and post it on Facebook after I am done the show. Or if you just hit back to the beginning, you can hear me read it out. I have 43% T Gala. Is this bad? Not if he wins. If he misses the cut, you're not doing so hot. I hate to tell you. Thoughts on Tyler Duncan? I was big on him last week. Not going to go back to him this week. How much salary is too much to leave on the table with this stacked of a player pool? I wouldn't really leave all that much. The winner, the shout out, Nathan, once again, has got a shout out on every show this week. Won the Millionaire Maker. I believe he left $100 on the table. I'd say a max you really want to leave is $400. Like, that will differentiate you, no problem. And then you still can get the like max optimal win probability into your lineup. Like, if you can leave $5,000 on the table and win, that is certainly possible if everything breaks right. But the possibilities of that actually breaking right and you having it at the same time isn't like better. It's harder than winning the lottery at that point. So, play or fade Homa. I'm playing Homa, but I can get the case for the fade because he's going to be incredibly popular. Thoughts on Von Taylor? I'm not using him. People seem to like him. Good course history here. I can see it. I'm just not usually. I always like Von Taylor when he's low owned. Thoughts on Ortiz? Pass. Answer this week? Pass. Answer is down to 25-1 in some spots. I like Answer, but it feels like we got the best ball striking performance he might ever have in his career last week, and he didn't win. Now, he may make a few more putts this week, which could really go a long way, but I would expect probably at least a 20% drop off, like minimum, in his tee to green game. And if that's the case, then he's going to need to make like 8 times as many putts in terms of like strokes gained putting in order to make up for that. So it's going to be really tough to do that. That was a shot, and it feels like he missed it. To me, doesn't mean you can't come like 7th or something and be a good play, but I would just rather go with someone else for me this week. All right, we got tons of questions coming up here. Thank you for getting back to the questions. I had to ban a few people to set in place here. I really like taking your questions. I'm not going to lie to you. Don't care about this other shit. Best 9K play, DJ. How do we like Ian Poulter, Kisner? I'm passing on both. Thoughts on Aaron Wise? Did I mention Wise? I was originally going to bet him as first round leader. Didn't end up doing it. Just, I can't figure out what's going on with the guy. Can't putt anymore, as Raza said on yesterday's show. The top 5 players above 10,000, who's the lowest owned? It's Webb Simpson. Favorite pivot of the week? It's probably now Webb Simpson. I've got myself back onto it. Any James Hahn this week? That's from Alex Hahn. No, I just like yelling Hahn a lot. Who has Cuss bet this week? He's bet Neiman. That's all I know so far. Rahm, highest owned golfer. I do think it could get that way right now, although Hovland is shaping up to be that way. And I'm curious to see where Cantlay's ownership goes now with the Brooks WD, if he continues to be out of the field. This is very confusing stuff we're getting here. And again, the tournament still might be canceled at 2 p.m., so we'll see about that. What do you think about Harmon? Straight pass for Harmon on me. On Fantasy National, do you prefer to use opportunities gained or just use Eagles birdies when building the model this week? I always tend to use opportunities gained solely because it takes putting out of the equation. Eagles and birdies gained on the field, obviously, you've made the eagle or you've made the birdie. You have to have putting influenced by that because you have to make that putt. Now, maybe that's a better way of looking at it since those guys are actually making the putts. But in terms of opportunities gained, it's just telling you who generates the most birdie chances. I really like opportunities gained for my first round leader model solely because it's like, hey, if let's just say neutralize putting completely. Who is giving themselves the most chances to make birdies? And that's the guy you want because you're only looking for one round for everything to come together and everything to click properly. So, most birdies, most eagles tend to end up winning. So the most chances just through attrition can go that way. That's why I always like the Fantasy National proprietary stat, opportunities gained. Which high-owned player are you willing to eat this week? I'm not sure where DJ is going to come in, but it's probably DJ. You firing up the Grillo this week? First round leader only. I had to get him out of my system. 6,300 is so tempting, though. I took 2 shots on Norlander out of 20 lineups, and that's going to be it for my like low exposure. I was really trying to cap like Homa and Kokrak and Lucas Glover are like the cheapest guys in the majority of my lineups, to tell you the truth. Digging Knox, pass on Knox. Hovland or Sattergio in one and done? Let's go with Sattergio. What's your favorite straight forecast bet on DK? I don't make straight forecast bets. They're not great odds. But if you want to have the fun, you could probably go Dustin Rahm. Don't know what that pays. It's probably like 225-1 or something. Probably, I mean, listen, I waste my money on stupid bets like Siwoo and List every week for the fuck of it. If you want to play straight forecast, I'm not going to talk you out of it. But yeah, let's go DJ Rahm 1-2. Do you like Rory as a pivot from Bryson? Yeah. I mean, if you can get up to that level, sure, it's still a price gap though. Like you have to find yourself the extra $200. That might hurt your bottom line, but he does look like he's going to be at least half the ownership. Bryson is playing a lot better right now, but one of the ways to look at this ownership percentage wise, like if you don't really have a lean, if you really feel like this is Bryson's week, take Bryson. Never talk yourself out of a player that you think has the chance to win or think is the strong favorite because they're too owned. If that was the case, I wouldn't have played Webb last week. I did play Webb last week because I thought he was going to win. He was still the highest owned guy. I wasn't alone on that. Seems like everyone was on it. Turns out everyone was right. You needed to have that guy. If you think Bryson's going to win, you're going to need to have him on your roster. But if you're sort of indifferent and you just want to play one of these top end guys, I just go to the Vegas odds when it comes down to it. I'll bring up DraftKings Sportsbook right now. I'm not sure what the current odds are on it, but that's always a really good way. Like, let's see where it's capped at. And then that's when you use ownership. That's when you use the lines in terms of like just the straight. I'm sure that there probably is a head-to-head with them because they are, let's see, tournament props. Is that what it would be under? Albatross in the tournament. Matchups. That's what I'm looking for. Tournament groups, matchups, two ways. Ooh, ROM plus money. Let's see. Okay. So they're taking VIG on both sides of this. So it's both minus because there's no ties involved in this. They've gotten rid of the ties. Tie is a push. Rory minus 114, Bryson minus 109. So they've made Rory McIlroy in the head-to-head market the very slight favorite. He's $200 more expensive on DraftKings, and he's going to come in at around half of the ownership of Bryson. Just using that thought process alone, it would lead me to Rory. Vegas likes Rory more, although I guarantee you they're taking more action on Bryson this week just by sentiment alone of what we're seeing. So, I mean, that's the logic of getting onto Rory if you're going to use it. I'm not using either of them because I'm fading the very top three guys this week. And that's how I'm differentiating a lot of my lineups and starting down the list a little bit more. But if that's how you wanted to parse it and you do think that's a true toss-up, that's the way that I would lean on that. Ruthless Pat this week. Oh, yeah, they call me Babe Ruthless out here. Come on, I'm hitting dings. Ruthless dings, banning people for life. Does Bryson come through this week? Maybe, sure. Scheffler or Connors in a GPP? I'll go with Scheffler. Do you think there is a legit reason for Stars and Scrubs build this week after 2 weeks of balance builds? Listen, if I knew the future, I would tell you what it was. Actually, I wouldn't. I would just not do the show, bet on the future like Biff Tannen, and I would just be loaded. You'd never hear from me again. Speculation-wise, I like the more balanced build, but I think you can do different variations of Stars and Scrubs if you wanted to. Like Stars and Scrubs doesn't mean I jam in Bryson, I jam in Rory and take a bunch of losers. You could jam in two guys in the 9s, 2 guys in the 8s, then 2 guys in the high 6s if you want. Like technically that's a Stars and Scrubs build. It looks balanced when you see it, but I think you could do different variations. If you were to play one lineup or a cash lineup, balanced build is probably the way that you want to go. Tournament-wise, when you're building 20, I'd kind of fuck around with it. Play a few of these, or if you just have one strong lean, just really hammer home everyone who's in that. You use Genesis as a comp course, right? Scott Brown, flat min, has played well there. Any love? I just can't do Scott Brown. Scott Brown, weak fields, sure. I know he has had some success at Genesis in the past. I cannot figure him out at all. Any thoughts on Tringali as a scrub leverage play 6K after last week's WD? I can see it. I liked him last week before the WD. Not really sure why. Not going back to him. Just feeling some other guys here this time around. But he was going to be popular last week. Didn't play. Now he's not popular. Nothing's changed. It's just a bit of a different course. So, yeah, I think ball striking-wise, before the break, he had been playing really well. How low would you go? 7K? 6K? Yeah, I've already gone through my picks, so sure. Whatever you want. 6K. Any Finau love? Yes, I will be using him in my DK lineups. Using any Patrick Reed? Yes, I am. Zhang? I gave Zhang a real hard look because he's my guy. Pass on him. Max Homa, yes, I'm using Max Homa. I bet him to win at 140, the top 5 at 1/4 those odds, and first-round leader as well. Thoughts on Reed? Like I said, he's my final cut from my betting card using him on DraftKings. Shifty Scheffler for the win. It's not a question. You want to be banned for life, Ryan Ruth? Because I'll do it. If I didn't like Scotty Scheffler so much this week, I would ban you for life. But here we are. Thoughts on Sync Pass? Is it smart to roster players over $10,000? Sure, they're the best players, so that would make a lot of sense if you can figure it out. Do you like Sergio more or Reed more? I like Sergio more. Is there anyone hotter than Hansel right now? The answer to that is no, because Hansel so hot right now. Everyone knows that. I know you are a team no putt, but do you consider adding putting to your model on POA. What's so different about POA that makes it so polarizing? I actually think that POA tends to negate putting a little bit because it's a bumpier surface. This does have bent. It was bent, turned into POA, so they're still bent in that mix, but it's bumpier. It's a bit more unpredictable. Putting's unpredictable as it is. Then you add in POA, which is more unpredictable. You just have a lot of these California guys and Northeast guys who grew up on the surface tend to be able to adjust to it a little bit faster than your guys that grew up in Florida or the South or in Texas, somewhere like that. Just because, like, man, when you putt on Bermuda and you putt on bent, it's like putting on carpet. It's not the case, really. Or actually, I'm going to change that a little bit. When you put on bent and put on Bermuda, it's like putting on like very flattened carpet. When you have with POA, it's like that. Like if you just like the floor in mine right now, it's carpet, but it's like these little like squares. I could probably pull one up for you. Just give me one sec. Floor falls apart pretty quickly here, and then the shit sticks to the bottom of my shoe all the time. Like I'm walking around just like an idiot. Like I have gum stuck to my shoe, but I'm not. Real sticky glue on the bottom. But you see how this is like. If I can pull it up, that means like little pebbles or anything like that can get stuck underneath of it. That's like what it is putting on POA versus the other surfaces. So that's what I'm going with here. Yes, Paul?
Side note on that.
Yes.
Give the episode a like so that we can get new carpet in here.
Yeah, if you give the episode a like and it gets over 3 million likes, I will get new carpet. But if I just get more, maybe they'll give me more money anyway. Who knows? Why no love for Bryson this week? It's not that it's no love for Bryson. It's just everyone's on him. He's too expensive, and I'm not playing him. I think the three players who have the best chance of winning realistically are probably Rory, Bryson, and JT. I'm not using any of them because I don't think they're significantly above the Roms, the DJs, the Morikawas. They are above, but not in terms of everyone's going to use these guys, so I'm just going to use these guys. That's all it is. Any concerns with players having trouble knocking off the rust starting this week since earlier in the year? I'm not alone in pointing this out. Just look at last week. Hatton hadn't played. He played great. Hideki hadn't played. He played poorly. It's unknowable, really. I don't know how long these guys have been playing. I'm looking at playing 60 lineups. What would you cap your player pool at? I don't know. It depends on how stringently you want to build those. You could do a 25-man player pool for 60 lineups. I mean, I wouldn't have the patience or the discipline to do that. I would probably try to expand it a little bit more. Like, if I was playing 60 lineups, then I would have, a few shares of Tom Hoagie or Duncan or Sam Ryder instead of like overloading Ngrio, for example, in Tringali, instead of taking like a little snippet of Norlander and a little snippet of Johnny Vegas. I'm playing those guys like 10 to 15% of my lineups, but that means I'm playing them in 2 or 3 lineups. Once you get up to 60, then it's a little bit trickier. Yes, Paul.
Breaking.
Yes.
Some guy named Brian Wacker from
hardly knew her.
From Golf Digest says that the commissioner will speak to the media in an hour, but sources say that it will not be canceled.
Not canceled.
The guy's got a blue check mark, so that's good.
And he has a blue check mark?
Brian Wacker.
Oh, Wacker? But
Yeah,
Tim Andercuss
Wacker.
doesn't? How dare they?
Yeah, how dare they?
It's great news. Like, this is why I want to continue with the show. But hopefully everything's going to be okay. Hopefully everyone who's infected is going to be okay. I saw someone's kid had it. Like, that's just really depressing news. Just candidly, I was in the hospital like all weekend with my newborn son. We didn't know what was wrong with him. He's okay now. We're going to go back for a checkup, but it was terrifying, and I wouldn't wish that upon anyone. So hopefully a speedy recovery for anyone out there. Yeah, it was fun. I was watching golf, just sitting there waiting for tests to come back, and it was a nice way to distract myself. And I think that's what we're seeing a lot, with golf back, with MMA back. That's why people want sports back so much. Like, there's a lot of shitty stuff going on right now. Sports is a legitimate break, and it can take you out of a funk. If you're feeling shitty, you can watch it, put it back on, and it gives you some sort of excitement, something to talk about, something to feel positive about. Hopefully this is good news that golf is not going to be canceled. Although now watch us swear. We thought Brooks's caddy had a positive test, Paul, and then he didn't. We don't know what's going on anymore.
Let's just hope Tim just keeps his mouth shut.
Yeah, Tim
about
needs to
all
shut
of
the
this.
fuck up about this.
He did quote. Yeah, he was saying "work it out." He posted a Beatles song, "Work It," and the words were "work it out." So that makes me a little nervous. But he didn't make a.
Maybe he was
bold
talking about
claim.
himself. Maybe now that malls are open where he's at, that he can go back on mall. He's talking about himself. He's working it out.
Oh, he's putting in the work at the mall.
I doubt it though. I doubt that he's working.
When do you think they're going to open up Gentle Aquafit again?
Where Tim lives, there has been no new cases of COVID-19 in, I believe, 15 days. So I think everything's just open again.
So the gentle aquafitting?
If you wanna go
does
gentle
he have
aquafit?
classes? Is he in the pool with Francis and Georgia
Eleanor.
and Eleanor?
Every Charlene, anyone else with a
Norma?
name from the 1910s? Yeah, maybe. He might be the instructor. Did you curse DJ with your one and done pick? Probably. That means if my one and done pick has meant anything, that means Sung Jae is going to win this week and Dustin will win next week. When I take a guy in one and done, they miss the cut, then win the next week. That's always fun. How about a player like Matt Jones? I've already talked about Matt Jones. Typical player pool size for a 3-max. Honestly, I'm not good at 3-max. I know my tournament is 3-max, which watch Sunday's show, as long as golf is still going on, to get into the Pat Mayo Experience Open. We had 5,000 spots this week. It got bigger, and it filled by Monday night. So you're going to want to get in early. I don't know if it's expanding next week. I think it should. Typical player pool, I don't know. I honestly make 20 lineups, and I just look at 3, and I'm like, I like that one, and that one. Very poor strategy, but that's what I do. Answer low own. I don't think so, man. It could be one of those situations where everyone just by the end of the week talks himself out of answer. But I think if a lot of new people are playing golf for the first time, which they have been because golf is the only thing on, they've seen answer 2 weeks in a row, they're probably going to use him. And the fact that he's down to 25-1 in the betting market shows me that a lot of people are actually wagering on him. So I'd expect him to be like 15 to 20% owned, somewhere in there. Can't lay an Im or Rom and Finau. I'd go Rom and Finau. Any shares of Streelman and Furyk? No. Stars and Scrubs approach this week? I think it's viable. What's up with Matt Wolff? I don't know. He's playing. Is Joel Damon in your player pool? No. Sung Jae or Sergio? Sergio this week. Ownership on Leishman. I am curious about that too. Leishman, 12% ownership. Do you think a pivot from Koepka to Morikawa makes sense? I mean, I was using Morikawa and not Brooks anyway, so sure, but that's a $9,000 pivot down. You can probably just recreate your lineup if you didn't want to pivot that way. Pat, what do you think of Vaughn Taylor's chances of winning? Not good. Not good at all. How about that? Any thoughts on Wes Bryant? No. No, don't use Wes Bryant. Maybe he'll make the cut again. Maybe he's back. Not for me. This guy's just here for the band comedy. Listen, band comedy is where it's at. The people who get banned, they don't like it. I've been reached out enough to by viewers over the years that banning people, probably people's favorite part of the show. Yes, Paul.
Sorry, you missed it because in our DMs with Jeff and the cast, he said, yeah, I'd say it's done about 30 minutes ago. And that's basically around the same time that like the false positive reports started coming out. Now it says it's not. So like Tim may have cursed the Travelers back into existence. Reverse cursed.
This is great news.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tim. Tim coming through in the clutch.
You know?
Saying golf is banned and is not banned. Great news. Let's hope it's good. What low-priced guy would you get? What low-priced guy would you go for to get a skin in one and done? Don't know what that means. Special Delivery Jones, me, a $20 free ticket. I'm not actually doing the giveaways. I'm tweeting it out. They're picking it. DraftKings is picking it. So I actually have no influence over that, but good luck. Homa or HV3? Homa. You still leaning on Leishman as his ownership goes up? Yeah, I still like him. Any idea why Fantasy National Simulator has Vaughn making the cut more than Neesmith? Probably the simulator technically works on corresponding holes, so it does weight shorter term more than long term, but Neesmith has very little long term where Vaughn Taylor has a lot, and that means he's probably apparently very good on shorter par 4s and the par 3s of this length versus Neesmith in his short sample. That would be my guess. You like Louis this week? No. Seems like Rahm missed a ton of short putts last week. What does Strokes Gain say? Strokes Gain says he certainly did. Not as many as DJ did. And like Rahm was absolutely brutal in the final round too. I know because I rostered him in Showdown over Justin Thomas. He ended up plus putting for the week. Lost 4.2 at Colonial. Let's look into the round by round on Rahm though, because I know. Oh shit! I clicked on the wrong one. Boom. Bring up John Rahm on Fantasy National Player Stat Engine. Strokes Game putting. Yeah, minus. He gained almost 2 in round 2 and has been negative in all the other rounds since. So yeah, he's due for some decent regression here. Pick to win, 3 names. You can check out the betting card. Once I tweet it out after, just revert back to the beginning of the show when I told you the guys I think are going to win. Thoughts on Steele? Pass. Any worries about Cantlay first week back? Sure. Patrick Rogers at 6,900, a viable cheap play? Certainly so. I do think he's going to be popular, though, and I couldn't take all the popular cheap guys. Any explanation for Bubba being 88? I mean, he either wins this or he plays poorly. That's about it. Since the majority of tour events are on Bermuda, do you think like playing on POA may benefit elite ball strikers who can't putt? I do. I mean, although you see plenty of POA in California and very early on in the year, and once we get to this part of the country as well, I wouldn't say I don't think the majority are on Bermuda. I think it's probably like a strong plurality. It might be like 45%, but between that and Bent, yeah, Morikawa or Sergio percent owned this week. Let's see. I think Morikawa is always owned, as he should be, because he's good every single week. But most owned. I have it still on Rahm. Oh, yeah, Rahm is just spiking in terms of ownership right now as Brooks goes down. Morikawa around 17, Sergio around 10. People don't like Sergio. People always forget about that. Is Tim's Andrew Curse of Cam Champ still active? Yeah, it seems to be. Spieth and Hovland or Rahm and Norlander? I go Rahm and Norlander. Is this the week Alonso comes back? -4 on Friday was promising. He's been really bad outside of that round. I'm not going to go with it. Can you get Tim Anderkes to send out a PGA is canceled for sure tweet? He gave it to us in DMs. Once it's announced that they're going to be fine, I'll tweet that out and everyone can pile them on. You know what? You can thank Tim once I tweet that out for being so pessimistic about it. If you're making 20 lineups, what's the highest percent owned you'll go on one player? I think that varies week to week, to be perfectly honest with you. I really like DJ this week, and I really condense my player core, so I think Dustin's my highest owned guy. I have him in 65% of lineups this week. So if Dustin Johnson misses the cut, you probably won't be hearing from me very much. In the 3-max, back to that 3-max question just for a second. I didn't use Dustin in all 3 of those lineups. I believe in that tournament, in my tournament, I believe I used him in 2 of those. Just to give me some hope in case he does miss the cut. Fade Webb, roll with DJ. I'm rolling with both now, but I prefer DJ. Tringali, the greens are technically POA, but are rolling like Bent. Yeah, and they're rolling really fast, too. But which actually kind of corresponds with Riviera a lot, too. Do you like Ben Ann, first round leader at 80-1? I so very rarely play anyone below 100-1 in anything that's not a major or a WGC. That's just a pass for me. It doesn't fit my strategy. Don't hate it, but doesn't fit my strategy of how I like to play first round leaders. Do you like a 9K plus 7K player strategy or more stars and scrubs? I like that enough. I think that's a fine strategy. I've done it a few times this week in a couple lineups. Interested in Knox? No. Casey or Bubba? Bubba. Pat ownership on Webb Simpson. Like I said, he's around 10-ish%, 8 to 10%. He's the lowest owned of the 10K guys. If Brooks plays well, he'll be low owned. Brooks has not been replaced in the field yet. Okay, so that's good to know. So maybe he will end up playing. I don't know. If Brooks are returning your stake, I guarantee Brooks cannot win the trophy and therefore cannot win the bet. I don't know what you're talking about. If he is back in the field, they will offer up Brooks odds again, more than likely. Will people be back on Patrick Reed this week? No, I don't think so. I'm back on Patrick Reed this week. Like Sergio, he's another guy that people just like to jump off right away. Yeah, I have him at like 11%, which is pretty good for a guy who like wins every 6 events or so. This guy says, happy birthday, Pat. Not my birthday, not even close, but thank you. It's great, thanks. Any news on why Tringali pulled out next week? My name's not Pat Google, so you can fucking figure it out, pal. I don't know. What are your thoughts on Paul Casey and Cantley? I already asked that question. I don't know if it's the same guy. If it's the same guy, and I find out, you're fucking banned for life. Would DK ever create a Friday to Sunday tourney that factors in finish? I don't know, man. I don't run DraftKings. My name isn't Pat DraftKings either. You have to understand that. I don't make the tournaments. I don't know anything about this stuff. Is Poirier someone who's on UFC this week, Paul?
He is. He's taking on Daniel Hooker in the main event. He's like a -220 favorite.
Are you picking him, do you think?
I got him in a parlay.
Would you play a Bryson Poirier parlay?
I mean, if you want to bet Bryson, sure.
I very rarely understand parlaying golfers with anything else. I mean, listen, objectively versus other golfers, Bryson at like 12-1 isn't great. But it's still 12-1. Like, it's not like parlaying a football game, 2 football games, and a baseball game to get yourself a juicy like plus 450. He's already plus 1,200.
So like a -200 or a -220, and then like
then a
14-1. Like, yeah, what does it make it? Like a 15, like a 16. I don't know why I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I don't know. I mean, if it was a pick'em, probably worth it, because then you're doubling the odds, and if you're really, really confident in that UFC fight. But
Let's see here.
I don't know.
Bryson down to 11. Rom down to 16 to 1 now.
I feel like I think the Poirier line's about as far as it should go.
Let's see. Poirier. No, I clicked on MMA boxing and I ended up on boxing. They need to put boxing below MMA for me. I need to, or at least make it two separate ones. I click on boxing all the time by mistake.
Boxing is dead.
Unless like Mike Tyson fights, then all of a sudden it's not dead anymore. Where is Poirier? Poirier minus 220. So if you parlay Bryson and Poirier together, it's 16 to 1. Like I don't think that's worth the risk of Poirier losing.
Wasn't Bryson 14?
He was. He's 11 now.
Okay, so when he was 14, yeah, it's like if you just got in on him early, it's only 2 to 1, and now you're adding Poirier in a fist fight. Like I don't know. I don't know if it's enough to get you.
Why do I want to play Sergio Garcia? I hate him. I love Sergio, but used to hate him. Big on Sergio these days. It's because it's the ball striking from last week. Pete Dye guy, I'm on him. Webb or Bryson? Webb. Thoughts on Bubba? I bet him to win, so I like him this week. I'm going to try to pop over to the Facebook chat, see if anyone's over there. I always forget to like halfway through to pop over to the Facebook. Sorry if you're watching on Facebook. I apologize for that. And if you want to get in that free Millionaire Maker ticket draw, there's 35 minutes left until they draw the winners at the PME on Twitter. The tweet is up there. You just retweet it, then reply. And don't do the thing where you quote tweet it with your name above it, because the way that they find the winners is by clicking the tweet and all the replies are below it. So if you quote tweet it with your name above it, you will not appear in that bank of names. Therefore, you won't win. So just do it the right way the first time, and you actually have a chance of winning. Although the odds are very low. I think it's been retweeted like 2,000 times. So it's one of 20 tickets you could potentially win. What are people doing up here? Anyone even asking questions on Facebook, I guess is my question. Let's check in and find out on the Facebooks. Read ownership, like I said, 13%. Higher owned, Cantlay or DJ? It's probably going to be Cantlay now, to tell you the truth, if Brooks is actually out. Is Wolf a good play for a top 10? Don't love it. Oh, man, people are asking the worst questions on here. Rose or Paul Casey? Rose. Thoughts on Wes Bryant? Don't like him. Lowest owned 8K player? Looking like Spieth right now. DJ, more popular play now that Brooks is WD'd. I think he'll get some more ownership. However, he's so much cheaper that people are lazy. They'll just go $200 above, $200 below. They don't want to, because if you end up going from Brooks to DJ, it's $600. And then you're like, oh, I have an extra $600 to play with. I'm going to reconstruct my entire lineup. It's a lot of work for some people that they don't want to do. Any feel on Sergio? Huge price jump? I'm in. This guy says, can't chip chalk, a.k.a. Cantlay? That is no longer fair on Patrick Cantlay. He's one of the best players around the green in the world right now. He really figured out that part of his game. That would have been fair like 2 years ago. Not so much now. Hey, Pat! Any reason for no outright Bryson bet? Yeah, because I don't want to bet him fucking 11 to 1. That's easy. Siwoo top 20? I never play Siwoo top 20. I bet him to win. Your name is Pat Mayo. What brand of mayo do you like? Don't eat mayo. Too fattening. Don't do that. Do I look like someone that really partakes in a lot of mayo? No, don't need it. Lucas Glover, great form coming in. I am using Lucas Glover in my DraftKings lineups this week. I like him at his price too. How important is hitting fairways here? It's important. However, wider fairways, the field hits around 68% of fairways as opposed to the tour average of 61%. So it's just easier for the Bombers to hit fairways at this course. So just looking at things like pure driving accuracy may not tell the entire story this week. Hovland, question mark? He's a player. He plays PGA, Tour, golf. People are using him this week. That's a guy, so that's a terrible question. Thank you. Cody says, thoughts on Hostler? Don't like him. Guy can't hit an approach to save his life. Maybe he'll gain 38 strokes putting, because he could do that, potentially. But I'm not going to go with it. Let's jump back over to the YouTubes right now. Can we fade Bubba at high ownership? At your own peril. I shall not be. Who are some of the top opportunities gained player? As a proprietary stat of Fantasy National, I suggest you go to fantasynational.com/Mayo, get yourself a discount, and find out for yourself. Does he respond to YouTube comments? I mean, that's what I've been doing the entire fucking time. Oh, this guy comes in, ask me if I'm responding to YouTube comments, Paul. Then he says, he just throws out, I don't think he's going to win. I'd rather pivot. You know what that means? You had a quick run in the chat on the Pat Mayo Experience. You, sir, are fucking banned for life. I'm getting all fired up. I'm just real fired up. Golf's not going to be canceled, at least so it's reported. Do you see that Bryson drove it over water to 370 during round yesterday? Yes. I have Twitter, shockingly enough, thanks. Thoughts on Munoz? Decent play, not using him. Thoughts about HV3? Exact same sentiments. What's the projected percentage on 6 of 6? Usually depends on the event. It depends on the chalk. Like, honestly, if Im had made the cut last week, then all of a sudden the 6 of 6 wouldn't have been like 4.5%. It would have been like 10%. So it really depends on which chalk misses the cut. However, since the cut line rules have changed to top 65 in ties over top 70 in ties, that has greatly decrease the number of 6 of 6 lineups overall. And this week, with 156 players in the field and only the top 65 in ties making the cut, so few players actually make the cut that I'd say it's probably around 5% again. If you get 6 of 6 players through, you should be pretty good. If you have a strong 5 of 6, you're not going to win anything in like a giant tournament, but you should definitely cash. You should probably win a cash game as long as you have a few guys near the top of the leaderboard. So, Rose or DJ on DK? DJ. What is Morikawa's ownership looking like? 16, 18% around there. Thoughts on the glove? I like the glove this week. Bryce Garnett, pass. Happy late Father's Day. Keep up the great work. Thank you. Thank you, Josh. I appreciate it. Oh, Josh Bucks. That's a great last name. Winning them Bucks. Scheffler or Harmon? Scheffler. For 20 lineups, do you use the lineup generator or handpick your teams? Always use the lineup generator. I am so bad at it takes forever to build 20 teams. Then I don't get the correlations that I like. At least with the Fantasy National lineup generator, I put in the percentages of the players that I want. I generate them, but it's like you can see your lineups at the bottom of how they actually correlate. Then if you don't like how they're constructed, or you have too many of the same guys in each lineup, so you can put in your provision like I want to have 2 of these 5 guys in every lineup, or no more than 1 of these 3 guys in any lineup. So it makes it super easy. But then you can just move your shares around super simply as well. So it's just much easier to do it that way. Any interest in the Wolf? No. Favorite pivots off dock if you were to dip that low? I like Vegas. Is Cuss saying we need more Walter Matthau representation in the 90 comedy movies bracket? Is the most Cuss thing he's ever said? Yes. It's not the 60s movie bracket here. It's the 90s. Grumpy old men. Not that funny. Hate to tell you. You climbing aboard the Spieth roller coaster? Never do. It's just much easier not to play Spieth at this point, to tell you the truth. But where the ownership is going to be significantly lower than other weeks, if it's a week you want to do it, I have no problems with that. It's just not for me. Woodland, Damon, or Connors and Garcia? I'd go Connors and Garcia. Rose or Rom? Charles, top 25. That was the Ben Chaza special. I'm off of that, though. Is Fratelli a good pivot off of Homa? Sure, if you want to. Thoughts on rostering Leishman in a GPP? I bet him. I'm using him. Let's go for it. Homa or Rogers? Homa. When do we get a better looking version of Jason Day as your co-host for these live shows? I love Reed. Reed will be back at some point for sure. He's doing his own thing. He's doing a ton of content over at DK Live and DKPlaybook.com. So Reed's off doing his own thing. And frankly, I like doing these by myself. Like, I can get to more questions if I do it by myself, and the entire purposes of these chats is to get to as many questions as possible. I like to get through them all. We were leaving like 50, 60, 70 on the table because we were going back and forth. It's great chat. It probably makes for a better show, but the sole purpose of the show is to answer your questions. So if I can get to more of them, I can get to more of them this way. Love Reed, though. Go follow Reed T. Fowler on Twitter. He's doing work with like Golf Digest, Golf Bet, a whole bunch of places. Reed's blowing up. Handsome fella, too. The handsome Jason Day, as we do like to call him. Reevy at the top of my models. Any thoughts on him? He did win this tournament last year. Playing a little bit better. Sneaky this week. I don't mind Reevy. I'm not using him. Completely get it, though. This guy says, why no Bryson outright love for the second time? Duplicate questions equal banned for life. Sorry, pal. Give your head a shake. Maybe you can get reinstated next time. What is the best DFS lineup maker to utilize? FantasyNational.com/Mayo. Get you 20% off. I have $6,500 to work with. Is Hubba Hubbard a bad play? Nah, Hubba Hubbard, never a bad play. Although I do like Norlander a little bit more. Oh, I just got a notification from Amazon, Paul. Your wireless mice have arrived.
Hooray!
Yeah, we can go back to using a better mouse again. This is good. Hovland over 14%? Yes. Is there any value in lefty? No. Jason Day flyer? No. Answer or Morikawa? Morikawa. Do you like the answer plus 240 to miss the cut? No, not really. I think answer is going to be fine. It's just I don't think he's going to win. And I think that you can actually plus 240 is not horrible to miss the cut. To be perfectly honest with you, I wouldn't bet it, but if you're not feeling him, sure. Thoughts on Bramlett's form? His form of not winning on the Corn Ferry Tour? It's great form. He's fine. He's a fine play, I guess. I'm not doing it. Im's ownership bounce back spots around like 18%. Everyone's back on. Who do you think will be the two highest owned golfers? It's looking like Hovland and Bryson right now. Am I crazy for wanting to go all in on T Gala? All in's a strong decision to make. Now, if you play one lineup and you consider that all in, then maybe, I guess. I'm actually not using him on DraftKings. I just bet him and took him in the betting market. That way I can cash in. He's not going to destroy my lineups. Big M week. Seems to play poorly on Bermuda. I mean, he just won on Bermuda, so I don't know what you're talking about. Daughter was born on DJ's birthday Monday. Bet him now with you. There we go. Thanks, Peavy. This is great baby swag. Do you know if there's betting line on Usti WD? Can Wolf pull driver on most of these holes, or will he have to club down? A lot of guys are just going to grip it and rip it here. As long as he can hit his wedges, then he should be fine. KH Lee has that Genesis connection. Dart throw was also a first-round leader here 2 years ago. That's why I took him 250-1 to be first-round leader again. I don't hate him. Don't hate him at all. If you're taking Brooks, automatic 0. Lol. Okay. First-round leader, Jim Furyk. John Daly, first-round. Okay, this guy's getting banned for life. You're the fucking worst. Just fuck off. Get out of my chat, clogging it up. Any Corn Ferry or LPGA bets? I don't have any, actually. Need Outlaw Tour show? No, you don't. You can do your own Outlaw Tour show. How about that? Well, I heart Paul Shag. There's a good comment. Then you should tune in tomorrow's show with Paul Shag and Cody Saftik talking about UFC.
That'll keep you from getting banned.
Yeah, it would keep you from getting banned for sure. These are not good questions anymore, by the way. If you have actual questions, then ask your fucking questions. If you're one of these people who are just a bunch of jabronis leaving your own comments in this chat, then I'm going to ban you for life. That makes it much easier. Is Cust a must play for you? Or I think it's pronounced Koost. But yeah, like T Gala, if you're not sure who Koost is, he's from BYU. Much like T Gala, he had the exemption to go back and play his senior year. He's decided to come out and make some monies on the professional tour. He is in the field this week. He's not getting the rub that T Gala is getting because he's not as highly decorated as T Gala, who won the Haskins and the Hogan Award. Probably going to win the Nicholas Award when they announce that in a few weeks' time. I'm not going to be using him. I think it's a bit risky for DraftKings to do it. But like I said, if you want to attack it in the betting market, like a top 20 probably pays like 16-1 or something crazy like that. So let's go with it. Flash, good time to hope back. Hop, I think is the word you're looking for, not hope back. Although you would be hoping back if you use Kevin Kisner. Putts well on Poa. Does he putt well on Poa? Or is that just something you're saying? Because I don't know if that's true. Putts really well on bent grass. He actually, let's see here. I can look it up for you to see how his putting splits. Putts okay on Poa. Putts better on Poa than Bermuda. This is true. I'm off of him, though. They don't replace WD golfers because of COVID due to new rules, which is untrue because Cam Champ withdrew and they replaced him with David Hearn. That was just last week. They didn't do that. They're kind of fluctuating week to week, but we'll see. Do you like Sal's boy, Charles Schwartzel? No. Boxing will always be the king of combat sports, Paul, is what this person says. That's a comment that I don't care for. Banned for life. Already withdrew all my DraftKings lineup. You're getting banned for life because I don't fucking care what you do. You're here to ask questions. You ask questions, you can stay. You give me your stupid fucking comments I don't care about, you're gone. Of your two guys, if you had to choose to outright, would it be Bubba or Sergio? Bubba. Keegan Bradley? Question mark. Player in this field. Is the only weather issues Thursday and Friday afternoon, and they're not even really issues. They're just windier than the morning. Can I get a ticket? Don't play much. If you have to ask, it's just like if you say you really need the ticket and you're one of these people, I can almost guarantee you're not winning. Put it that way. Just enter the fucking contest and shut your mouth. How about that? Like, if because it becomes annoying after a while. And therefore, if you really press the issue, then you become one of those people no one wants to answer. Like, that's just, it's with anything. It's like when you apply for a job and someone's like, hey, shoot me an email, and you shoot the person an email and they don't get back to you within like an hour, so you send like 5 more emails, chances are you're never going to get that job. You become the annoying person. Paul, yes.
Yeah, we get it all the time, like with the UFC and stuff, where people will ask questions that couldn't have been more clear on our programming and stuff. So it's clear that they don't listen to anything that you say, so those people get muted. And then they end up not getting responded to ever again.
Like, it's just be cordial about everything, and just like, let's say it's a randomized draw giveaway. I don't have any influence over this. So if you're one of the random names pulled, it's like all the people who, when they don't win, like I never win these. Like, honest to God, the contest is about to close in 20 minutes. It's been retweeted over 2,000 times, and there's 20 tickets to give away. I wish I had more to give away. I try every single week to get as many free entries as possible, and this is what they capped me at this week. Maybe next week there will be more. I can try to give away more free tickets, but I only have so many to give away. And like I said, 20 tickets for over 2,000 people. Chances are, probably not going to win. Just throwing that out there, percentage-wise at least. Is Brian Harmon too chalky? I just don't like him. Thoughts on Brendan Todd as a value? Went down that road. He just has not played well since the return. Take on Leishman. I bet him, and I'm using him. Keegan or Horschel? Pass on both. Alex Hahn? Not doing it this week. Hama, Hovland, Scheffler, best bet for top 10 value. Probably Hovland. Value-wise, actually, now that he's been bet up, it's probably Scheffler, to tell you the truth. Will Rick be back on Tuesday's show next week? He's on fire. Yeah, it's usually only majors I have Rick and Ben on at the same time, and obviously Rick's a part of the regular rotation. Busy man these days. Really proud of Rick with how well he's doing. So many different outlets, so many different shows. Follow Rick on Twitter at RickRunGood. Check out all of his content. He's amazing. Great guy, too. Really good dude. So I recommend everyone go subscribe to his stuff. But yeah, Rick's definitely going to be back. I don't know if it's going to be next week, but it'll be soon, if nothing else. Did Justin Rose make it in your player pool? He did not. Thoughts on Damon or Neiman top 5? Neiman, I guess, would be the play, but he's been juiced up so much. Pass. This is my second week of playing golf. Awesome. Hopefully we can keep golf going, and you win enough money, you can keep it going. Hama or Fratelli Homa for me. Thoughts on Tway Pass? Is Bubba mega chalk this week? Doesn't seem like it. He'll be like chalk-ish, like he'll be in the teens, somewhere in there, be between like the 6th and 15th highest player around. Fade Doc Redman, I'm using him. Thoughts on Ryan Palmer? I'm fading him. Would you rather fade Neiman or Hovland? I'd rather fade Neiman. Bryson cracking 22%? Probably. Would you play Ortiz or Doc Redman? Doc Redman. Thoughts on Garcia Neiman versus Finau Fitzpatrick? I'd go Garcia Neiman. Pivot off Brooks to Chase Koepka? Have fun with that. Fitzpatrick versus Sergio, or use both? I like Sergio. I don't like Fitzpatrick. Most surprising ownership number? I don't know. Let's see here. Like I said, ownerships will really start telling the story around like 8, 9 p.m. tonight once people actually, like right now, we're drawing this from 20,000 generated lineups by Fantasy National members. It's a lot of lineups. By the time it gets to tonight, there's probably going to be like 70,000. So it's just a better sample. I guess the one I'm most not concerned about, but Rose at 18% seems really high to me. I don't know if it's going to get that high when all is said and done, but I thought he'd come in around like 12 or so percent, but he's been playing really well. I get it. Any love for Joel Damon? Nah, I'm going to do it. Why can't you get your pool down to 12 players to win that big? Because I can't do it. I'm a mental midget. I just can't do it. I see too many guys I want to play. Don't forget to hit that like button. That is absolutely true. That is a good Stewie. Stewie's always on top of this. Shout out Scott Stewart. Thank you for that. Rom or Bo Van Pelt? You're banned for life. Fuck off. Gooch seems like a good play to make the cut. He has not been playing well since the return, and I really wonder about his irons. So that's the thing. Do you really have to say wireless mic anymore? Who the fuck is buying wired mice in 2020? That's a fair point when it just popped up on my email screen that wireless mic was delivered. I just said it. Paul, you have a wired-in mic.
I have a
wired-in mouse, sorry.
I have one right here.
It works really well.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Yeah, you never have to worry about connectivity.
You never have to worry about batteries or replacing stuff.
Yeah, charging it.
Yeah, no, if it's like for a computer, a desktop or something like that, it's fine.
Jamie Lovemark, GPP Dart at 6.4K. Yeah, he's played well here too. Awesome name. Answer, ownership. Like I said, somewhere in the mid-teens. Thoughts on Varner? Seems all right. All in on him. I'm not using him at all. I should be using him, but I'm not. Vegas has a winning score of minus 19.5. Seems low/high. I would keep going course records on all of these because so many good players are playing. But you never know. Would you consider adding Lonto? No, I would not. Who are some sub 5 plays, 5% plays in your pool? Those are my guys. I can't tell you about all them. Let's find out. Who am I playing sub 5%? Norlander, The Glove, Vegas, Kokrak, and that's about it. Like I said, I only have, 16 people in the player pool? Yeah, 16 people in the player pool, so 4 of them below there. Let's see. Woodland or Reed? Reed. Thoughts on Matt Jones? He's all right. Kang? I bet Kang is first round leader. That's about if, though. Who is this Duncan I hear about? I mean, I think we're far into the chat to figure that out. Thoughts on Rafa Cabrera-Bello? Been a lot of putting recently, although when you get wedges involved, Rafa's usually pretty good. Haven't seen it, though. Rose or Rom higher ownership? It's currently Rose, will probably end up being Rom. How many lineups in the Millie? 20 for me this week. How do you feel about Higgs? A lot of putting, bad irons. Not a good mix to keep it going. I love Harry Higgs. I hope he does well because I just really enjoy him. Don't have a really high hope for him, though. Post and top 10 pass. Is Sergio being lowest owned player too chalky? Probably, but maybe not. Depends on how you construct your lineup. You leave $200 on the table, then it really doesn't make a difference. But he's like 12% or so. What do you think of Matt Wallace? He really bit me on Sunday last week. Pass. Do you think that the tee-off times early in the AM have a higher chance of posting lower scores than Thursday afternoon specifically? I do this week, just because of the wind and the way that the watering down ends up working. Did you take Tigala for a top 20 finish? I did. I won a 555-hole ticket last week. How would you decide your lineups if you're in an 83-person single-entry game? Single entries, you should just basically play cash lineups. Like, yes, cash lineups can win for one thing. Just you don't want to take every chalk player there is, but just take your 6 guys who you feel comfortable with, that you think are going to have the highest percentage chance to make the cut. Like, you don't need to think of it, I need to pivot off that guy because of ownership, and he's a little bit riskier. There is game theory to single entries, but only 83 players. Just be concerned about rostering the best team possible. Pray you get 6-6 through, and then if you get 6-6 through in an 83-man tournament, you're probably going to come automatically top 10. So top 10 in that tournament probably plays pretty well. Let's see here. We got time for a little more. Any shares of Hubbard or Higgs? No. We're back on Sugar Shane. I'm off. Roz is in. Was going to play Champ, as was I, but I am not anymore. Woodland, worse of a golfer after training with D. Wade Trainer? He's having like one bad hole a week, and it's sinking him. Is Patrick Reed a cheater? I don't think so. Maybe he is. I don't really care. As long as he wins this week, then we're doing fine. Anyone you play round 1, but not in the Millie? Yeah, all my first round leader bets. Most of those guys are not in my Millie lineups. Reed, Im, or Garcia? Reed. Thoughts on Stuart Sink? Pass. Ryan Moore? Solid. Unsexy pick? No. Will you play me in a head-to-head? I don't take head-to-heads with viewers because if I played one, I'd have to play 500, and I just don't feel like it, to tell you the truth. In a 3-max 250-man is a good idea to go all in on 1 or 2 players. That's personal preference. If you want to, go for it. Horschel, a good play? Could be. Not for me. Rose or Rom? Rom. Thoughts on Cam Davis? First-round leader? Only for me. Ortiz, Neesmith, and Redmond. Which 2? Neesmith and Redmond for me. Favorite prop of the week? You can hit up my cheat sheet once the show is over. Hoffman for a top 20 pass. Favorite value play under 6,600. I feel like this was asked already. I'm not sure if it was. A lot of questions this week. I appreciate all the questions. Smash the like button while you're here. We're just going to keep this going. My favorite play is Norlander down there. Does ZJ make the cut? Hope not. I like Sung Kang at a low cost. Watching in England. That's pretty cool. Shout out to England. I don't even know. It's probably nighttime over there now. What would it be? It's almost 2 p.m. here. It was like 6, 7 p.m. over there. So getting off work, watching a live chat with the PME. It's pretty cool. Kang, I have his first round leader. That's it, though. Who is your top 5 for this week? That's very personal, sir. That's a terrible question. How do you feel about Higgs this weekend? Pass. Ann, a sleeper? I went back to Ann. Obviously, he fucked me last week. I'm not going back this week. What are Bryson's splits on different green types? And he says he likes the Sunday show. I've been enjoying the Sunday morning show. I put it out Saturday evening last week. Bryson, better on Poa than anywhere else, then Bermuda, then about even on Bent. Bryson's a good putter. It goes wonky from time to time, but historically, a good putter. Fully realized web price went from 9K to 5.5. Do you think his ownership will go from 27 to sub 10 coming off a win? I do, actually. Thoughts on 2 lower 6K guys to jam in the top of a single entry GPP? It seems risky for a single entry. CT Pan seems like he's ready. I'm going to pass on CT. The Panimal getting a pass for me. Finau or Fitzmagic for the Millie Finau. If Brooks is still playing, do you see low ownership now? I do, actually. If he ends up getting back into the field, which at this time, I don't know if he's actually in or out. Just wait for updates. Like, there's no good speculating on any of this stuff. We're going to find out. So you might as well just wait to find out. How about that? It's much easier that way. Safe to assume no more challenge podcasts for you with golf being in full swing and being busy. We might jump back in at the end of the year, but since they basically cut D out of the show, good on them for doing so, but it's kind of unwatchable at this point, so it's not really even that fun to talk about. I feel like there is a risky week with possible COVID withdraws. Hopefully no more. That's fucking breaking insight, John. Thanks.
Newsflash.
Yeah, thanks.
COVID.
Where can I sub to your newsletter, John? Give your fucking attitude.
Don't know if you guys read on the news.
I don't know if you've seen the internet today, but here's what's going on. Thanks.
Put him in a coffin.
I'm gonna have a sip of water. May take an aspirin with that. Thoughts on Naismith? I'm in. Pat Mayo is my favorite. Me too. Actually, you're my favorite, DJ. Helped me win last week. Hoping to win some more. Me too. That'd be great. These are the questions I don't like because they're not fucking questions. Again, do not leave the non-questions. This is the last time I'm going to give any credence to. I'm just going to start silently banning people. I think balance is the key with this week. No stars and scrubs. Fascinating fucking stuff. Fascinating. Thanks for your insight. No one cares. Better old man. Furyk or Phil at 6.9K. Nice. Neither for me. Furyk does have a 58 at this course, by the way. Answer or Hovland? Hovland. Seems like Tringali never gets discussed. This is literally like the 14th Tringali question, so I think that you might be living in your own little bubble here. Ownership for Neesmith and Rogers. Let's find out. I got too many tabs open. Where are we at here? Oh, no. I think I just closed it by accident. Ownership projections. What was it? Neesmith and P-Raj. Too many people on the site right now. I'll get back to you in a second. Do you feel like Spieth could show up and win? No. So, anyone, it's a PGA event. Anyone can win. I don't have high hopes. Simpson or Morikawa? I prefer Morikawa. This is back in the Facebook chat, by the way. Let's see here. Neesmith. The Knights who say Neesmith, around 7%. Patrick Rogers, around 8%. Do you play one player in all lineups? I do not. Does Im bounce back? Probably. Thoughts on Fratelli? Pass. Thoughts on Harmon? Pass. Who are you fading that you might regret? Mostly the top 3 players. Rory, Bryson, or JT. Terrified of those guys just coming 1, 2, 3. Smash the wife, smash the bell, and smash the like button. That's quite a day you're having right now. I like it. Neesmith or Redmond? Redmond. Are you on Poulter? No. Horschel? No. Rom or Webb? Rom. Thoughts on the best approach for a blank, not DraftKings company, multiplier construction? Funny you come on a DraftKings channel and ask that. That sort of stuff gets you banned for life, pal. So think about that next time you ask a question. Favorite pivot from someone like Higgs? I don't think you need to pivot off of Higgs. Like, he is the pivot if you want him. Do you have a shirt underneath that hoodie? I do not. Pat Mayo rocks the sexy chest when it comes through. You can even see the great tan line coming through right now. Look at that stuff. Even shaved above from where it was, just so we don't see it. I'm not real. It's real hot out. I'm not real keen on undershirts. Also, undershirts for people who don't have a sexy chest like myself. Is Tim Anderson clinically insane? Yes. Stamped to prove it on the hand and everything. Nobody talking about Kevin. Nah. How are you feeling about him? Worried about the back. But if you want to take that gamble, very low ownership. I don't know if you've heard, but Rory is good. All right, you're banned for life. Just clogging up the fucking chat because you're a coward. Think about that as you ask your questions to the void from now on. Nobody discussing Rory? Yeah, no one's ever discussed Rory. Not this week. No one thought about the highest odds player or the highest price player. Just no one thought about him. No one ever discussed him. That has never happened before.
These questions are getting pretty bad.
Yeah, these are bad questions. Bad questions. You guys have ruined it.
There's
Ruined
a
it for
few
everything.
like really bad ones in here. Like the most like, what golfer is clutch like Kobe? Like, does that? I remember how you used to feel about the word clutch and clutch in sports and how it doesn't exist. So I imagine that one would have triggered you.
I didn't even get to that one.
Should I ban him before you even get to
Yeah,
that?
you get honorary bans.
All right, cool.
You ban that guy for life. You can never come back. You watch someone else's fucking show, pal. Get out of my chat. This is for people with real questions. That's what I want. I want real questions. I want to help the people, not these fucking morons who have no real questions. Calm down. What odds do you give for one of the guys in the 10K higher to miss the cut, and who would it be? I have no idea, but the odds of that happening, probably like 50-50, maybe higher. It seems to happen every week. One of those guys ends up missing the cut. If I knew, I just wouldn't play that guy. Where can you get this hoodie? This is an H&M hoodie that I bought like 8 years ago, so I don't even know if they sell it anymore. Sam Darnold or Smiley Kaufman? You might get banned for life. All right, we're going to the bottom. This is just horrible. DJ over Bubba? Yes. I'm going to take like 5 more minutes of questions here because I want to go watch this presser to see what they say. Neiman or Answer or Morikawa? Morikawa. What do you think of the possibility of Webb finishing top 5? I think it's very strong. He's a top 7 player in the world. Can you get as big as Bryson? I'm trying. It's not happening. He also has like 4 inches on me. That's just not going to happen. Have a bet on you getting a Jim Nance type job. I think I said nose job. My chances of collecting probably pretty low. I'm not going to lie to you. Jim Nance is just having that job. I would like to have the internet stream version of it where I can be like, fuck this. I can't believe you're missing fucking putts. I think it would be fun to have, but we'll see. Thoughts on Xander this week? Pass. Playing any Reavie? No. Pat. Do you think this is a solid cash lineup? I'm not here to rate your lineups. Trust me. Johnny Vegas, first round leader. We all on that? Oh, yeah, we're all on that. Smash the like button. Good. Least favorite player outside of Spieth. I don't dislike Spieth. I just don't like him at this price. What golfers in the 7K range do you like this week? I mean, you can just go watch my shows or have listened to this chat or read my cheat sheet on dkplaybook.com. Yes, Paul.
Breaking. PGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan's press conference with the media has been delayed until 2:30. So not going to get to 2 o'clock. So if you had plans of like waiting around to hear anything, he's waiting until 2:30.
Wonder if that's good or bad news.
I don't know.
He's going to tell us, so we're going to find out. So that's easy to know. What else we got here? Finau or Fitzpatrick? Feel like that was asked. Finau. How do you feel about Sam Ryder? Pass. Wyndham Clark or Patrick Rogers? Pass. Neesmith or Steele? Neesmith. Do you feel like there's any concern with Justin Thomas losing strokes putting at Highlands the past 2 years? I mean, sure, but he's Justin Thomas. Yeah, if anyone can get it figured out, it could be him. Rose Glover or Cantlay Hubbard? I like Rose Glover. Did Corey Connors wear glasses last year? I don't think so. I don't recall him wearing glasses. Bryson over Rory. I'm not playing either of them, so there we go. I already went through that. You want to rewind to some part of it where I talked about if you really want that as a toss-up, how you can figure that out for yourself. Golf Red Zone, over under 4.5 years away, I'd probably take the over. Why are you so beautiful, Pat Mayo? It's a very difficult question to ask. Genetics, I suppose. Gregory, you're in my good books. I love you. I got time for 5 more questions. You put in a question, then boom. Who's better off the tee the past 2 weeks, Bryson or Webb? It's Bryson. What are you talking about? Any Snedeker love? No. Im and Kokrak or Louis and Reed? Im and Kokrak. Any interest in Poston? No. Woodland or Spieth? Woodland. Time for 1 more. If you're the next person in, you get your question answered on the Pat Mayo Experience. Before I gets out of here. Sneakiest POA specialist? I'd have to go look at that. Get a Fantasy National membership and figure it out yourself. I heard you say Glover, but what do you like about him? The ball striking, man, has been really good the past 2 weeks. if you can just find a few putts, like the tee to green is usually always good, but it's nice to see that he's in form. He's cheap. No one really seems to be on him in like the overall scheme of things. Like he's not going to be like 15% owned. He's going to be like 7% owned. And I think he's a good player for that price. If everyone's going to be at Homa at the same price, I'm probably going to use both of them, but I have more Glover than I have Homa. I just think he's a good play this week. Rose or Morikawa? Morikawa. What should I be waiting more on, off the tee or around the green? Off the tee. Thanks for not reading my column this week where I explicitly address that and mention it on every show. Manny, you're blowing it, pal. You're just blowing it out here. What happened to Stump the Cuss? We got really busy, for one thing. I have the show. It's done. It's not very good. The show itself is very good, but I did the scoring wrong, so the show really makes no sense. Cuss is really good at trivia, by the way. Let's see. Reader Rom. That'll do it on the Pat Mayo experience. I think we got to around, 350 questions or so. Hopefully, PGA continues. I guess we'll find out at 2:30 now. Subscribe to the Pat Mayo Experience audio podcast. Leave a 5-star review or just a 5-star rating. It's easy. Just take your phone, open it, boom. Click on Pat Mayo Experience the show, scroll to the bottom. Oh, 5 stars. That's actually how long it just took me to do it, to figure it out. You can probably spare the time as well. Helps it a lot. Smash the like on the way out. And we got tons of shows still for you. The First Look, the betting preview, and the DraftKings show all out right now on the video and audio feeds. My column is up on DKPlaybook.com. My cheat sheet is up on DKPlaybook.com. I'm about to post my betting card as we go right now. Maybe it's all going to be for nothing because PGA is canceled for life, but hopefully it's not. So you can go check out all that stuff. And fantasynational.com/Mayo get you 20% off. Easy way to research, easy way to build your lineups, and have some fun with it. All right. Good luck this week. Hopefully another viewer of the show wins $1 million this week. Hopefully it's me. But if it can't be me, I hope it's one of you. All right. I'm Pat Mayo. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.